Gotta wait to see, make sure we're going. Alrighty. Good morning, everyone. My name is Ben Stiver. I am the clerk appointed to the SDAB, and in absence of the elected chair or vice chair, I call to order the January 8th, 2026 Subdivision and Development Appeal Board hearing for items 2025-0741, appeal against the stop order for an unpermitted tourist home, and PL 2025-0381. Just a quick point to notice at the beginning, this hearing is being live streamed. It can be seen on the town camera or YouTube. So first item for today is to elect the chair for the day. So may I have a nomination for chair?
Yes, Larry Bone, I would nominate Tanya to be the chair of today's meeting.
Okay. Are there any further nominations? Okay, then can we get a vote on Tanya Faubert chairing today's SDAB hearing? All those in favor?
Yeah, I vote.
Perfect. Thank you. So that is approved. So Tanya Faubert will be the chair for the hearing January 8th, 2026. All right.
Thank you, Mr. Stiver. My name is Councillor Tanya Faubert. I'll be chairing this hearing. All questions and comments shall be directed through the chair. Are there any additions or deletions or changes to the agenda?
No, there are not.
There are not. Perfect. I move that the board approve the agenda as presented. All those in favor? Carried unanimously. We'll now go through introductions. Will the board members please introduce themselves, starting with Ms. Volk on the Zoom.
Hi there. Committee member Bronte Volk.
Larry Bone, public member.
And I'm Councillor Tanya Faubert. Does anyone affected by this appeal object to any of the board members present hearing this appeal? All right. If you could please come up to the podium, introduce yourself, and establish that you are an affected party in these two specific appeals.
Sorry, I missed that last bit.
You are an affected party?
No.
No? Okay, so
Unless I can claim standing later if you want me to.
I can, sorry, I can't hear you, sir. If you could speak closer.
No. Do you want me to be a affected party?
So technically, under the MGA, an affected party is a person directly, immediately adjacent to where the permit was issued that is in question. So we have two appeals in front of us today, one for 5116 6th Avenue and one for Lot 5, Block 5, Plan 931-2316. So these hearings are focused entirely upon the matters in front of us. So under the MGA, if you're an affected party, you would introduce yourself right now, say how you're an affected party, and why you object to the board members. So if you're not an affected party, then your objection to the board members doesn't carry forward.
But you have the right to hear anybody.
Yeah, sorry, say that again?
You have the right to hear anybody?
No. No, we do not. That is a council procedural bylaw where the mayor, as the chair, may during a council meeting at any point in time allow someone to speak. At the SDAB, we're a quasi-judicial board governed entirely by the MGA. So I understand that you have some questions and concerns about issues that you have with the board, but unless those are specifically related to the hearings in front of us, then this is not the right place or time for you to be speaking to those.
I don't quite understand. Firstly, they are, I'm talking about the composition of the board, so they are directly affected by the appeals. And the MGA says that you must hear affected persons.
Yeah, but the MGA defines what an affected person is.
Yes, but it also, can I just get the law?
Actually, As the chair, I'm determining that you're not an affected party. You're not an adjacent neighbor. You are not here to speak to either of these appeals. You are here to speak to an issue you have with the makeup of the board, and that is not appropriate for this hearing. So we're going to move on.
Can, is only the adjacent properties? Because that's not what case law says.
Yeah, I'm asking for the effect, if you are an affected person, right? If you got a notice that this appeal affects you, if you were immediately adjacent to either of these permits being issued, if you have an actual issue with either of these if you were going to raise a development issue with either of these, which are here for withdrawal, they won't even be heard, then you're an affected party. If you're not an affected party, then this part of the meeting is not open for you to raise other issues you may have with the board makeup.
Okay, but you're talking about given notice, that's 6871C?
Sorry, say that again?
You're saying that I had to be given notice to speak?
A notice would give me indication that you're an affected party.
Yeah, but that's 6871C.
And, okay, all right. Sir, first of all, you haven't introduced yourself. Could you do that, please?
Matthew Jenner.
Matthew Jenner. Mr. Jenner, now please repeat the section of the MGA that you're referring to right now.
Six 6871C.
Okay. I would like for you to explain to me why you believe you're an affected person.
Because on the stop order for 2025-0741, I may be in a position where I also get a stop order in a similar fashion, and therefore I want to know how this would affect me if this appeal goes through.
And so so you're interested in the results. So now that, to me, doesn't make you a directly affected person under the MGA.
On what basis, please?
Because you're just, it's interest in it, and we're not holding a hearing. We are withdrawing these matters.
But this is the hearing of appeal.
To withdraw. So there will be, okay, so.
Well, firstly, you have to have the hearing of appeal to decide whether to accept the notice of withdrawal.
No. We don't have to have a full hearing in order to accept a withdrawal. The parties affected have the right to withdraw any application that they have made to us. And so at this point in time, in terms of the procedure, we're not actually in the hearing. We're asking if you object to a board member present. And so I'm going to allow you to raise your objection. And so please proceed. Who do you object to and why?
I object to the chair claiming to be chair. I understand you made the vote earlier, but I don't believe you've had a vote under Section 22 of the bylaw yet for this year. So there is no chair or vice chair. Also,
yeah.
I don't understand why you've not had that election today, given this is the first meeting of the SDAB, and it is a mandatory provision of the bylaw.
All right, thank you, Mr. Jenner, for your submissions. So the way it works is that in order to sit on the SDAB, members need to have training, and there needs to be an organizational meeting. And that organizational meeting traditionally happens at the end of October, or not October, at the end of January. And so because we're at the beginning of January and our chair is unavailable today, we had to appoint an interim chair. Our vice chair was also unavailable today. So between the three board members, it was put forward that I would be named chair. I see that the clerk would like to address this procedural matter as well, and I'm going to turn on his mic.
Yes, that is correct. So then that first organizational meeting is in the best interest to have all available parties involved, and due to a lack of participation, we want to have the most diplomatic process available to elect the chair for the year, which that will take place in the coming weeks. But for now, because we can't dictate when these hearings are going to come in, so we dictate the first meeting of the year being our organizational meeting is going to be coming in a few weeks, whereas this is a hearing, so separate to that matter. So we can elect a chair for the day for a particular hearing, but the first meeting, we will be electing the chair for 2026.
Furthermore, the SDAB is a quasi-judicial board under the MGA, and we have to conduct business, which means that when applications are made, we have a legal requirement to hold meetings within 30 days, and then when we adjourn them, we have a legal requirement to hold another hearing to establish how we move forward. I have made note of your concerns, and we're going to be proceeding with the hearing. If you could please sit down. Thank you. To the clerk, are there any procedural matters, jurisdictional matters, or for the board to consider before we continue?
Yes, there are. So there's a procedural matter for each of these items that we need to address. So we have received withdrawal requests from each of these appellants for each of the matters for 2025-0741 and PL 2025-0381. Both of those written submissions for withdrawal have been included in the agenda package. And as per bylaw 26.1, if a notice to withdraw an appeal is received after the hearing date has been set, which we did in December, the board shall open a hearing to determine whether or not the appeal will continue and if you will accept this withdrawal request, and which is why we're here today. And is the recommendation from the appellant and the administration that the hearings no longer continue and that the withdrawal is accepted.
Thank you, Mr. Stiver. I move that the board accept the withdrawal request for item 2025-0741, appeal against a stop order for a tourist home, and close this hearing. All those in favor? Carried unanimously. I move that the board accept the withdrawal request from item PL 2025-0381, appeal against an approval by a development officer for a projection outside of the building envelope, and close the hearing. All those in favor? Opposed? Motion is carried unanimously. This hearing is now concluded. As a reminder, the clerk will post the notice to the town's website. Thank you.